need to take. So this video that I'm going to make for you right now, we're going to be talking about joint tenancy versus tenancy in common. I posted an article earlier today that talks about an uptrend that is happening right now in real estate, where more and more people are becoming interested in becoming homeowners because it's hands down fact that owning real estate and becoming a homeowner is far less expensive than actually renting. People used to rent back in the day because it was conceived that it was more affordable to be a renter. That is no longer the case, okay? In our society today, in our market today, it is much cheaper to be a homeowner than it is to be a renter. Now, there are still certain situations that hold people back from becoming homeowners, so therefore they have to rent. And if you are in a renting situation, I do not want you to feel bad about it. Let's get together. Let's hash out a plan to help you become a homeowner. Now, today's video is talking about joint tenancy versus tenancy in common, because these are the two ownership rights that are most common when there are multiple people purchasing a home. The reason why we see the trend that where more and more people are purchasing joint tenancy or tenancy in common is because young people, college age people, friends, and even boyfriend and girlfriend are buying homes. The traditional thought where only a husband and wife buys a house, you got to wait till you get married to buy a house with somebody else. People are moving above that, because like I said, it makes economical sense to be an owner, even if you only own half, than it is to go out here and rent, okay? So what do you need to know about joint tenancy and tenancy in common? Why would you want to come together with another person? It does not have to be your husband, doesn't have to be your wife. It could be a really good friend. It could be a sister. It could be your mom. It could be your dad. If you have a group of people with you that all of you guys come together and you use your combined income to become a homeowner, you're going to end up saving more money. So the number one question on how to make this happen, I want to be able to help you guys if you are in a situation where maybe you can't afford to buy a house by yourself, but you and your sister want to buy a house together. Together, you guys have the needed income to offset the debt to income ratio so that you can become homeowners. And if all of this sounds like Chinese to you, please send me a message and I'll connect you with a mortgage broker that can help you figure out the situation. So this video is just for informational purposes only. I am not a lender, so I can't really tell you about the qualifications, but I can tell you as your agent what type of tenancy you will have when you purchase a home with another person. The most common tenancy is tenancy in common, right? That's when a husband and a wife purchases a home. Actually, joint tenancy is when a husband and a wife, most typically, right, purchase a house together, okay? So the home is owned by both the husband and the wife. That's the most typical tenancy that we see when we have a multiple owner situation, right? And in tenancy, in joint tenancy, I'm just going to read this definition to you. Joint tenancy pertains to a home ownership in which each party is on the home title and has equal interest in the party. An example of joint tenancy is the ownership over a house by a married couple. In this situation, each of the spouses have equal share and interest over the house. In case of divorce, each spouse may sell his or her share in the property. Once there is a sale, the joint tenancy becomes tenancy in common. Tenancy in common, on the other hand, refers to ownership over a certain property by two individuals without the right of survivorship. So remember, in joint tenancy, if one of the people dies, the surviving owner now has ownership over the entire property, okay? And when there is a divorce, and you pretty much this is why married people sell their home and split the profit, because no one's going to go into joint tenancy in common after a divorce. Like some people might do it where one person, but where are you going to find another person that wants to buy a house with people in it, right? That's why that theory doesn't work in real life practical sense. Married people go ahead and sell their home and split the profit, or one spouse writes off their ownership to the other spouse that's going to stay in the home. Okay, that's real life practical definition. When you go into tenancy in common, on the other hand, refers to ownership over a certain property by two individuals without any survivorship, without any rights of survivorship. They are co-owners of the property, and their shares and interests are over said property are equal. So tenancy in common, right? Let's just use two sisters. You are going to purchase tenancy in common. Sister A owns 50% of the home. Sister B owns 50% of the home. Okay? Y'all understand? We have equal rights. Unlike tenancy in common, there's a right of survivorship. Tenancy in common, there is no right of survivorship. You both equally own equal rights of the home, right? Okay. However, there are also situations in tenancy in common when the parties do not have equal shares. That would have all been settled during the sale, right? Let me go up. Sorry. Okay. Joint tenancy and tenancy in common have different rules concerning death of one of the tenants. This is the main difference between these two kinds of tenancy. In tenancy in common, death of one party shall have the effect of transferring the rights of the descendant tenant in favor of his heirs. Okay, so when these two sisters own this house, if one sister dies, right, then her 50% goes to whoever she leaves her ownership to. So if she leaves 50% to her child, or 50% to the mama, or 50% to her cousin Sue, now Sister B owns the house with cousin Sue because Sister A left her 50% in her will to cousin. Okay, I hope y'all are following me, right? Okay. In joint tenancy, each co-owner possesses interest. Time and title over the property is vital. In order for the transfer of rights to occur, there must be a will, and that's what I just explained to you, right? So, this is the biggest caveat that people have when they're trying to conceptualize how they're going to purchase a home with another person. I want you to step out of ego and think about it from what I just broke it down. If you are a college student, or your two sisters, we'll just keep this sister scenario, and you purchase a house with your sister, tenancy in common, you both own 50% of the home, right? Okay? Now, you both are going to split the bills right down the bottom. If, let's say by year 5, Sister A decides she's going to get married and her new spouse are buying a home together, great. Sister A now, right? All she has to do is get a roommate in to pay her half of the mortgage and her half of the bill, and she can go on with her husband. And Sister B doesn't want to sell the house, wants to stay in the house. Cool. She still has another person paying half of the bills or whatever to keep up with Sister A's equity, right? In the home, because Sister A still needs to have someone in there. And that's what people do to build wealth, guys. You have to look at real estate as a wealth generating vehicle. Stop thinking off of your low level, oh, well, I ain't buying a house with somebody because what if I want to sell it before they sell it? And how am I going to get my money? It's ways. That's why we got real estate lawyers, and that's why you got realtors, okay? This is our job as professionals to help you build wealth with real estate. This is a heavy trend. It's big in Asia, okay? And I see a lot of Asian families here in America. They come together, and not just two. There'll be like 5 people. They put their money together and they buy these, $500,000 plus homes in Fairfax County, and everybody is working together to pay the mortgage, and they all have a home to live. They all have equity, whether it's 1/5 or 1/2. That's far more than what you're going to have when you continue to pay rent to somebody else. Okay, so this is something for you to digest. If you are not in a place right now where you can purchase a home by yourself, and you may be in a situation where you have some family members or friends that are willing to put your money together and buy a house together. Okay, guys? This could be mom, daughter, brother, sister, cousins, friends, whatever. Even business acquaintance, Some entrepreneurs might come together and buy a house together so that each person can put their money together and build their business. It's like another level to a incubator, okay? Think outside the box, right? You got to make money work for you, not you work for money. And I'm taking y'all on another level, right? I told y'all we going hard this week. I'm going harder in sharing with what I know. I'm going harder in your thought process of how to use real estate for your wealth building vehicle. It's far more than just buying a house for your kids and your husband and your spouse, right? Single people, you could be building wealth. Young people, you could be building wealth. Let's talk about it. Let's do these things. If you don't know and you got questions, you follow me. Send me a message. I'll get to it. I promise you, okay? If this video blessed you, share. Until we meet again. Bye.